Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and thank you so much for honoring our invitation. It's our favorite bilingual program, The Brief, where we always get to dig several layers beneath the major headlines as captured by newspapers. On today's edition of the program, it is going to be a special edition of The Brief, where we'll be very snappy with the newspapers. We're going to be having an exclusive interview with the world president, or JCI world president, for 2023. He is in Cameroon, coming all the way from Iceland in Europe, and he is making an African tour. He decided to make a stop at My Media Prime Television to tell us why he is in Cameroon. He is coming 11 years after the world president, JCI world president, was in Cameroon. We shall find out from him why he is in Cameroon this morning. We will read some few headlines, of course. The newspapers this morning, they are focusing on the demise of the revered politician Njon Frundi, who joined his ancestors yesterday. And those are some of the headlines that the newspapers capture for us. Let's have it with Etape Quentin in the French language newspapers before we come back in English. Bonjour, Etape Quentin.
Good morning, Lasha Kingsley, débrief 14 juin 2023. Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour à tous et à toutes et bienvenue dans ce programme consacré au décryptage des informations relayées dans les journaux en kiosque ce matin. Mais pour le cas d'aujourd'hui, nous n'allons pas aller en profondeur comme d'habitude. C'est une émission très spéciale. Nous recevons sur notre plateau le président de la jeune Chambre internationale. Alors, après la revue de ces informations, nous reviendrons sur le plateau pour en savoir plus sur sa présence. Et puis, démarrons très rapidement, vous le connaissez très bien, le départ du président du Social Democratic Front à l'au-delà domine la presse ce matin. Prenons le journal La Nouvelle Expression. La Nouvelle Expression arrivée à notre rédaction ce matin, titre en sa grande une, nécrologie, un baobab s'écroule. Si l'on s'en tient aux informations données dans la page 6 de ce tabloïd en kiosque ce matin, on peut comprendre que Njon Frundi a tiré sa révérence lundi dernier à Yaoundé, une semaine après son retour d'une visite médicale à l'étranger. La maladie qui le rongeait depuis plusieurs mois a finalement eu raison du patriarche du Nsungkikang. Il abandonne le combat sans avoir vécu la tenance politique pour laquelle il se bat héroïquement depuis 30 ans. Bamenda, les populations pleurent, le héros du 26 mai 1990. Yaoundé, silence de mort au domicile de Njon Frundi. Bamenda, les populations pleurent, le héros du 26 mai 1990. Yaoundé, silence de mort au domicile de Njon Frundi. Maurice Kamto, c'est un héritage politique remarquable pour lequel les Camerounais de tous bords doivent lui rendre un hommage mérité. Henriette Ekwe, Njon Frundi était un des baobabs de la lutte pour la libération du Cameroun. Dr Aristide Mono, il fallait être Njon Frundi pour résister aux transitions par les armes. Jean-Robert Wafo, j'ai du respect pour l'homme politique d'exception. Benjamin Zébazé, pourquoi j'ai pris tant de risques pour soutenir Frundi, œuvre de Frundi, de l'espoir ou désespoir, soutien Edmond Kanga. En tout cas, ce sont les hommages à lui adressés dans cette parution en kiosque ce matin. La même actualité est abordée par le journal Éco Matin, juste en sa petite une. Tenez, Ring Road CAST, Bambili, fédéralisme, ces projets qui tenaient à cœur à Njon Frundi. En tout cas, le journal fait savoir que le dernier grand rendez-vous républicain auquel il a pris part ces dernières années avant son exil sentait de plus en plus aux États-Unis d'Amérique. C'est le grand dialogue national tenu du 30 septembre au 4 octobre 2019 à Yaoundé, à l'initiative du président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, Nidjon Fundi avait menacé de claquer la porte des travaux de la deuxième journée si sa proposition d'inscrire dans le menu la question liée aux causes structurelles profondes de la crise dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest. Le projet de retour au fédéralisme n'est cependant abouti malgré son plaidoyer actif. Construire la Ring Road, transformer l'hôpital de Bamenda en hôpital général, a érigé le collège des arts, sciences et techniques du Cameroun de Bambili en une université de sciences. Aucun de ces projets n'a vraiment été réalisé tel qu'il avait souhaité. En tout cas, ce sont des informations à retrouver dans les colonnes et lignes de cette parution en kiosque ce matin. Comme je vous l'avais annoncé, nous n'avons pas assez de journaux à développer ce matin. Place actuellement à la découverte de quelques tabloïds en langue anglaise. Avec toi, Lasha. Une fois de plus, bonjour.
Thank you, Etape Quentin. Let's kickstart this morning with the Sun newspaper. The Sun newspaper is focusing on the demise of the Social Democratic Front Party National Chairman Nidjon Fundi, who reportedly died in Yaoundé. That was yesterday. Nidjon Fundi, 1941 to 2023. SDF National Chairman quit a stage at 82. He came forth and almost conquered the legend that braved Yaoundé's intimidation in 1990 to create his political party. Get reactions of politicians, Cameroonians and other government officials in this edition of the Sun newspaper. The Guardian Post is also dedicating its front page to the disappearance of the national chairman. Fundi quit stage at 82. Fearless launch of SDF battle for return of multi-party politics in Cameroon. Also get echoes of the boycott of 1992 legislative elections in the country, and also reactions of Cameroonians and other members of parliament regarding the death of Nidjon Fundi. Thank you, televiewers of My Media Prime Television. Like I told you, we're going to be snappy this morning as we are receiving a special guest on the program who is coming all the way from Iceland. He is Senator Viktor Omarsson, who is coming all the way from Iceland. He is the 2023 World President of Junior Chamber International. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Welcome to Cameroon.
Thank you so much.
Barely 24 hours in the country. How do you find Cameroon?
Very welcoming, first of all. The first thing I noticed when I came to the airport is just a big smiles of everyone. Very much joy. There's a lot of laughter here. I like that. So I'm finding it very welcoming and very nice. Very warm also for someone from Iceland. They say, oh, sometimes it's cold here. I think it's warm, very warm and burning probably for me.
Okay.
But yeah, and yeah, so it's fantastic experience so far. Also, I really like the music. The one I'm hearing in the radio when we are driving between places, etc. Nice.
Okay, perhaps I begin by giving you a statement you made less than 4 years ago. You said, and I quote, "Courage or change makers are those who care enough to challenge the status quo, have talent to formulate strategies and courage to take actions. True leaders focus on the opportunities rather than the obstacles, on bringing solutions rather than complaining, and on acting rather than talking." How committed to these convictions are you?
Well, I'm super convicted to this one. I think the core here is that the responsibility of our future lies in our hands. It's not a moment to point at someone else to say, hey, you need to fix my stuff, you need to fix the challenges here, or blame someone. That's not the way to move forward. So the most important thing is, and that's the fundamental of JCI, is to build up young people so that they have the tools, they have the skill set, they have the dreams to make this world a better place, to make their future a better future. So I'm very convicted to that, and that means challenging the status quo. That means saying whatever is today is not good enough. Some things are fantastic, but there are many things that we need to improve, and we need to dare to say that we need to improve that. We need to point out that how we can do that, and then we need to form strategies and work together in order to move it forward. So I'm very convicted to that, and you really need to always take the responsibility for your future, not to point at someone else. And that's what we are trying to do in JCI, and me also as an individual.
The mission of JCI is to provide leadership, development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. You're taking up that office at a time where young people constitute key players in global crisis. Right. Let me talk about some of these global crises. Terrorism, cyber criminality, they're also victims of governments led by people who are not in their age bracket and who seem to not understand their plight. How is JCI strategizing on getting these young people not to fall into these traps?
Yeah, it's a long list of challenges that we have, that's true. But also in the statement you made before, or you were quoting me on, is to focus on the positives.
You made that
right?
4 years ago,
yeah.
2019.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of challenges. You mentioned sometimes we are victims of governments or situations that are led by people who are not in our age range, right? So the first thing that JCI is doing is creating a platform where young people get a chance to show their leadership and practice the leadership by doing. And it's very important. So in JCI, for example, we have 1 year to lead for all our leadership positions. Okay. What that means, for example, as a president, and you mentioned, I serve for 2023. Because we have a new world president every single year. Because we are a platform for young people to develop their leadership skills. Now, if I was in office for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you know, who am I developing, and how am I developing myself as well? So we change constantly the leadership in our organization to give younger people the opportunity to lead. This we do to empower them to be the change makers that address these challenges, that you're mentioning, and to claim the space. So we are for 18 to 40. Our organization is for young people between 18 to 40, right? We change leadership every year. We do a lot of trainings, we do a lot of international networking, and we do community actions and business actions where we are analyzing the needs of the society. These challenges that you mentioned, these challenges, we are analyzing the needs of young people, and we are formulating strategies and actions, and then we learn from these actions, and we improve ourselves as leaders, and we prove ourselves in our actions, and we hopefully improve the communities. Now, young people, yes, they get into situations and they take on actions which are not favorable. As you mentioned, terrorism, etc. There are many young people who stray into that side, and we need to analyze what causes people to take that turn. And in JCI we are focused on the positives, and we are focused on empowering people to see the positives, first of all, to believe in themselves, and to believe that they can shape that future, and not to feel like victim, but to feel like change maker and someone in the driver's seat of the future. So that's how we are addressing things, and then we have frameworks and certain methods that we use to achieve our goals.
You are in Cameroon. You're coming 11 years after the JCI World President was in Cameroon. What is it that you are bringing this time around? It's been 11 years.
It's been 11 years, long time. And well, first of all, my purpose here is to support and encourage the members here on the ground, the leadership of JCI Cameroon, and the members who are making the actions and the magic in this organization. That's first of all. I'm here to say we support you, we are with you, and we believe in you. That's the most important thing that we are doing. Secondly, we are of course meeting with different stakeholders to gain support and first of all to explain what we are doing on national level, but also on global level, how it's all connected. And we are aiming for finding where do we share visions, where do we share and have common goals, and how can we collaborate together to achieve that. And I've been impressed by what JCI Cameroon is doing. I believe in the leadership. JCI Cameroon in the past has brought us amazing leaders who have served in our highest positions, being the Secretary General of JCI, being the President of JCI, being in many other functions in JCI. We have staff members from Cameroon as well. So Cameroon has played a very important role in JCI history, and I'm here now to share the message of JCI globally, learn from what's happening here, how can we support, and most importantly that we are here behind you.
Let's contextualize some of the challenges that I enumerated moments ago, talking about terrorism, the upsurge in cyber criminality.
True.
You are in Cameroon. Do you understand some of the things that are happening in Cameroon? And what is it that you can do to help the country?
Yeah, so this is a good question, and comes to the point of being in a leadership in a global organization. Now, am I the expert in the situation here? No, far away from it. Am I the expert in the cultural aspects, the political aspects, the community aspects in Cameroon? As an individual, no, I'm not. But what we focus on in JCI is to empower the people on the ground to analyze the needs of their community, to understand exactly all these different things that are affecting the situations, and then formulate actions to make that better. What I can do in that journey is, first of all, to share how we operate on global level, number one. Number two is trying to find connections and build bridges between people. I'm traveling the world this year, and I'm hearing of different projects and different actions and different collaborations, etc. I'm learning a lot of great practices from all over the world, and I'm trying to share them when I come here. And I also try to figure out, okay, when you are working on this type of project, how about connecting with someone in Europe, someone in America, to gain a different perspective on it. They are working on something similar. So I'm trying to build those bridges. And then, of course, in this travel, I'm sharing the stories from Cameroon as I move forward. I'll be sharing the stories in Cameroon and continue serving Cameroon even though I'm in a different country.
You are touring Africa, and of course you are in Cameroon. You are alongside the Cameroon JCI president.
Correct.
He's here with you. In how many countries do you operate?
We operate in around 120 countries.
So
in around 5,000
do you
communities.
give specific tasks to the different satellites branches? How do they operate?
No, we are very agile and diverse organization. So obviously the global organization or the global office cannot come and say to JCI Cameroon or JCI Iceland, where I come from, or where any other of our national organization, we cannot say you have to do this or you have to do that or you should only do this or this is the most important thing. No, leadership is not like that. Leadership is about making the right choices in the right situations. So what we are practicing and what I do and what the global office of JCI does is to try to share the why behind what we are doing. Why is it important? And how do we approach our work? What you do, what is the need, depends in different communities. And we trust in our members and in our leadership on the ground to make the right choices and right strategies for that.
Yeah, in Cameroon, some of the realities, if we go by international organizations who have often quoted Cameroon, Transparency International, Corruption Perception Index, Cameroon amongst the most corrupt nations in the world. Those are some of the challenges that Cameroon is facing. Corruption, there's also terrorism, there's also, we have crisis in the north of the country, the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Have your Cameroon office reported to you or presented to you already the specific needs of Cameroon? And if yes, what are the solutions that they are proposing, especially the conflict in the northwest and southwest?
Yeah, well, these are huge topics, as you said, and what is important, and I'm repeating myself, what is important is to understand the why behind what leads people to these situations and these choices in life. And all of the challenges that you're mentioning are human-made challenges, right? It's human-made challenges. So there must be humans who also fix those challenges, which is extremely important. Now, when it comes to, for example, many of these challenges, it's about economical reality of people. And it's about believing in the future or not. And it's about believing in methods of, what kind of methods are the most effective methods to make the change that I want to make. Now, most terrorism, for example, in most cases, there is some aim behind it. There is something that, at least in many cases, right?
And they are driven by young people.
They're driven by young people, exactly. But people who see no other possibilities, who see no other ways they see the challenges, as we all see, but they don't see the right way to approach it. So that's where we come in as JCI. And we have something called the JCI Action Framework, where we work within a certain methodology. But most importantly, it's just to ask ourselves and discuss, and what is that future that we are aiming for, and what is the the purpose of our existence here. Now, when I go around, travel around, and I ask people about their values in life, what are your values in life? And if you think about it, then every single human being has some beautiful values. Every single human being has beautiful values, something that they truly believe in. Now, how can we be in a situation where if you hold beautiful values, we are still in such an ugly world? There is a gap there between, and JCI is trying to bridge that gap with empowering young people to have the skill sets, to not go into the wrong methods, but in the more constructive, long-term, sustainable methods of approaching our challenges. And that starts with believing in yourself, believing in the good, have people around you that supports you, and then take actions.
Before I hand the mic to my co-presenter, this other question that has to do with why you're in Cameroon. What is your message to government officials? I'm sure you will meet them in the days ahead. You have a few days in Cameroon, 1 or 2, before you travel back to Europe. What is your message? What is the message to government officials?
Well, the message is, first of all, exploring together where are our common goals. These challenges that you were mentioning before, and all around the world, there are these challenges where we have common grounds to work on. So that's first of all what we are exploring in our conversation with stakeholders. What I'm also saying in these meetings is how JCI International is supporting JCI Cameroon, and how we believe in what JCI Cameroon is doing right now, and that we need to how to say, now my English tip is gone, but how we can collaborate together basically, and how we can unite on these actions and believe in those young people who are doing amazing stuff. Yes, there are all these negativity things that are happening, but there are also so many positive things. How can we lift that up and overcome the negative parts with the positivity and the rightful leadership? So that's where we are aiming for collaboration. We are discussing how strategies, and this will be my message to the stakeholders that we meet.
You'll be meeting with business operators today, the Chamber of Commerce.
Correct.
Okay. We'll come back to that. Let me hand the mic to my co-presenter.
Monsieur le Président, une fois de plus, bonjour and welcome to Cameroon.
Thank you.
Voilà, peut-être vous n'allez pas suivre le français, cependant mon collègue va transmettre pour vous en anglais. Alors ma question est celle de savoir, depuis votre arrivée sur cette organisation à but non lucratif, eh bien, à l'issue de l'élection 2022, quelles sont les missions que vous avez eu à réaliser à travers le monde déjà?
She is asking, since you came to the helm of this organization, you were elected in 2022, what is our mission and what are the things that you have achieved since you took up office?
Thank you. Well, that's a good question. First of all, so yes, we are elected in November each year. We have our World Congress. So we organize a World Congress once a year where we gather 4,000 or 5,000 JCI members from all over the world, and where we elect our leadership for next year. And there I get to know my board members. We are 25 people serving in the International Board of Directors from all different nationalities, so it's an amazing opportunity for us to learn leadership in a global perspective. So the first steps are taken during World Congress. One of the things that we do there is we appoint committees which are there to support and take actions on the plan of action that we approve at the General Assembly of this organization at World Congress as well. So the first steps we did is appoint 10 different committees with people from all over the world, which are working on different important topics. Now I'm going to mention a few of them. First of all, environmental sustainability. That's something that of course we are all facing, the climate change and how that is affecting our businesses, affecting our life, and etc. And we need to take responsibility in that. This is one of the fields that we are focusing on this year. How can we redesign our activities and our approach, again looking at ourselves, what can we contribute, not only by projects we do to the communities, but also within our organization. How can we, and that's work in progress, and we are right now analyzing and formulating strategies which we will be launching at World Congress. We are also talking a lot about diversity, equity and inclusion. and we have situations of war in many places in the world. It all comes to understanding different people. If you actually form friendship, if you actually gain understanding amongst people, that's a foundation for peace, which is very important. And inclusivity is very important there. So we are taking initiatives within the organization on bringing more inclusivity. We are in countries all over the world, so it could be easy to say, yes, we are very diverse. By nature we are. But we need to constantly be challenging the status quo and challenging ourselves and say, hey, what can we do even better? How can we bring the voices of even the youngest generations in the organization? So we are 18 to 40. What about those who are 18 to 22? Are they being heard strong enough? When we are on the international stage, we are normally with a long experience in JCI. So we have went through the school, and we are coming close to our last years in JCI, and myself, for example, am on the last active year in JCI. So we are doing all sorts of initiatives to empower all our members, but especially the youngest members. I just came from amazing travels last month in May from 4 area conferences, where we organize. We are organized in 4 different areas in JCI: Africa and Middle East, Europe, America, North and South, and Asia and Pacific. Okay, so we are in these 4 areas, and we host the area conference every year. And during this area conference, we are focused on empowering young people, to empowering the people, to learn new skills, etc. And there has been amazing achievement, and that's thanks to my board members in different areas of the world. Amazing achievements in that empowerment. And now we are preparing our World Congress, which will be in Switzerland in November, where we will take the grand finale of that journey, and we will celebrate the successes, and we will prepare the leadership for next year.
Okay, Senator, you come from Iceland, a country that played an important role to bring in peace during the Cold War. Now, what is happening in Ukraine, the war between Russia and Ukraine? What is your own reading of that war, and what is it that your country can do to bring peace to these 2 countries?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, yes. Iceland is a very small country, 380,000 people. We are not in many aspects as a nation. We are since our size is very small, it's a question of how influential can you be. And this reminds us of also, and this is just a motivation for me also in my personal life and for all of us. We might be only one person. We might have so and so much resources. We might have so and so much knowledge. But we can have enormous influence if we really are dedicated to it. So what can JCI, for example, do in this situation? Yes, you mentioned Ukraine and Russia. Very horrible situation. We have members in both countries. But we have in Haiti. I came from Burkina Faso. We have serious situations of war or conflicts or security issues in so many countries. What can JCI do? Most importantly, build understanding amongst different people. Most importantly, and you mentioned the meeting that was in Höfði in Reykjavik in the Cold War. What was that meeting about? It was about conversation, right? It was to sit down and have a conversation. Try to be as neutral as possible. And we are a apolitical organization. We don't take part in any party politics in JCI.
How would a political organization get involved with political issues? How possible is that?
Yeah, that's very much possible, because in politics we are focused on differentiating ourselves and gaining votes, right? And in politics we are very pushing our agenda, our belief, our approach, right? That's the political game, and therefore we tend to divide, and we focus on the differences. In JCI we can address exactly the same political challenges, the huge challenges, but with the focus on what unites us. Where can we meet together? In politics we say we can agree to disagree, right? That's said in politics. Let's agree to disagree. But in JCI we say, hey, let's agree on the principles here. Let's ask ourselves first of all the purpose behind things and the why behind things, and what kind of future do we want to paint, and how can JCI come together in all of these or contribute to in these situations is to be a neutral player. Like we stand by beliefs and values. We don't stand by political aspects. And by being a neutral player, like Iceland was in the Cold War,
Yes.
being a neutral player, we can be a platform where people sit down and discuss and put aside their agenda and start to listen and start to understand. And this is what we do in a beautiful way in JCI on global level. We have an amazing network. We have, like mentioned, in 120 countries with 150,000 members and senior members on top of that, etc. in 5,000 communities. You can imagine how diverse we are.
It can be.
Yeah, and when we start to build connection, and not only having a nice business connection or like a shallow connection, but a real deep human connection. That's where we start to understand each other. And we do amazing projects and programs every year in JCI where we dive deep and we form friendships. And when we have that friendship, we are also more intend to listen a little bit more than speaking, and we start to understand, oh, there are different perspectives of things, and that's how we can move forward. And when we understand the different perspectives, but also the common things we have, we can start to collaborate and start to move forward together instead of focusing on what makes us different.
What is your relationship or the relationship of your organization with other international organizations that have the moral obligations to resolve conflicts around the world? When I talk about other international organizations, I'm talking about the UN, the African Union, and other institutions. What is the relationship?
Yeah, we have several global partners, and United Nations is one of them. We organize events together, we learn from each other. You can see here that I'm wearing the Global Goal or Sustainable Development Goal pin, for example, which captures, again, what we have in common. We have 17 shared global goals, right? Sustainable goals that we are working to. Every nation around the world, every citizen should be working towards those goals. And how can we contribute? What can we do? Again, to look at ourselves and not point at others. So we work with UN, different institutions there. We work with International Chamber of Commerce on the field of entrepreneurship and business, and also to how entrepreneurs can drive positive change. Because nowadays it's not enough to be a good businessman. It's not just to be
have money or
I mean, it's not about how much money I have in my pocket only. You also have to be responsible towards the community, towards the environment, etc. And take that and own that responsibility and design that into the corporate strategies. This is how we work with the business industry. We also work with different NGOs, and then of course we have collaborations in each country, which goes deeper into the actions that we take in each country. And different institutions in Europe, for example, we have a very interesting program with the European Union on exchange on how the European Union, the Parliament works in the European Union, where we, for example, go and give opportunities for JCI members to visit the Parliament in Brussels and shadow a parliamentarian, so stay with a parliamentarian of the European Union for a few days, go into the meetings, see how everything is functioning, and at the same time have the opportunity to share the wishes and the vision of young people. And so that's an example of a partnership we do in Europe, but and these partnerships are different in different areas, but all based on common values and common goals.
Yes, before I hand the mic to my colleague, you've toured Europe, you are now touring Africa.
Yes.
What balance these two countries, these two continents? What is happening in Europe and what is happening back in Africa?
Well, I mean, when we look at the demographics, of course, Africa is the young continent, right? It's a continent that has amazing future because there's so many young people, and the nations are the average age is very low. That's totally different in Europe, where we are seeing the population growing older and older. And
this is a message I saw so many messages that was so many outings that you made, but this one caught my attention because if we have to contextualize it, it's so much linked to what is happening in Africa. This issue of blames, the young people, they are not working towards the development of their communities. They keep blaming that they were supposed to be done this and that. So when you look at what is happening in Africa and what is happening in Europe, do you have the impression that the young people in Africa are not doing enough to drive?
To be honest, I have the different impression than you are describing. Yes, there are young people who are pointing at someone else and something. My experience, and probably because it's shaped by my JCI experience of Africa and Middle East, my experience is that the young people are taking an enormous responsibility of the future of this continent and of their own future. I see people who are taking actions every day towards betterment of the societies, and not pointing fingers at others. So can we do more as like?
So you're focusing on those few who are taking up that challenge.
Of course, focusing on those who are doing the good things and rally more people into that journey, right? Because that's how we move forward. By focusing on the negatives and of what the things that are not working and those who are not doing, well, we get stuck there. As you said, then we are pointing at someone else. But I'm definitely focused and I'm inspired by the actions that those who are taking responsibility, what they are doing, and how we can then bring more people into that story and more people on that journey.
Okay, Etape.
Alors, parmi les activités que vous avez menées sur le terrain, vous avez organisé des formations sur la prise de parole en public, le leadership, et bien vous avez organisé également les ateliers internationaux en Asie, en Europe et même en Amérique du Nord. Alors, quelle est la vision que vous voulez véhiculer, quelle est la vision ou bien la philosophie dont vous voudriez faire savoir au monde entier?
Yes, he's asking about your blueprint. You've been organizing seminars in Europe, Africa, and Asia, you know, giving trainings to young people to empower them to drive development. He's asking about your blueprint since you took over this organization. Yeah. What is it that you want to achieve by moving around, empowering these young people?
Yeah, well, the empowerment is the thing that I want to achieve, of course. And as an organization, we are here to empower young people to create positive changes, to build the leadership skills. Now, there are many different ways that we do that, and there are certain blueprints on, you know, how that empowerment happens. Maybe I can share a little bit my personal story in JCI when I joined as a member in 2010. At that year when we had a world president from JCI Cameroon, Ronald Quentin. I joined JCI for a reason of building myself up, because I had no belief in myself, in my skills in public speaking and speaking in front of people. I was extremely shy. I was extremely, wanted to be in the back, not to be seen, and even to the level that in my university, when the teacher would come around and they would ask a question, I knew the answer. I knew in my heart that I know the right answer, but I didn't dare to raise my hand and say the answer. You know, I would just get red, and I was like, no. Let me just stay here in the back. Now, at some point, obviously, you realize that this is not gonna work for me, right? If I want to achieve something in life, if I want to have any influence and have any success, okay, this is something I need to challenge. And around that time, when I am in this situation in the university, I get an email in my university email offering a one-evening training on public speaking in JCI, in my local organization, JCI Reykjavik. This is the capital of Iceland. And so I get this invitation. I think, okay, one evening, let me try to survive. You know, let me see. So I went there and I survived that one evening. But what that one evening gave me is a belief. Okay, maybe I can do a bit more. Maybe I don't need to be so afraid, right? So I started to believe a bit in myself and understanding, okay, this is possible. So I went for another training and another training. And this is how JCI, this is the blueprint in JCI. We have all our comfort zone. We all have our comfort zone. And it's nice and safe to stay in that comfort zone, but it's also quite boring. And it's also limiting ourselves. Now, outside of that comfort zone, we have a zone of opportunities, zone of new things, zone of dreams, zone of challenges, but also things that shape us for the future. And when we step into that zone, and that's what we do a lot in JCI, and that's why, for example, we have 1 year to lead. It's obviously out of your comfort zone when you first take an office. For example, as a world president, it's out of the comfort zone. I don't know how to act as a world president, and I'm, you know, on the ground, and I'm learning by doing. But after 1 year, I've probably captured it a little bit, how to do this role properly, how to manage and survive, and how to do my job well. But then it's time for someone else to take on that challenge, and me to go for and find a new challenge. And this is the blueprint in JCI. We will be constantly stepping out of our comfort zone, challenging ourselves, and therefore building ourselves up. And then when we have done that, when we have gained the skill set and the belief in ourselves, and we have the amazing network of people around us who can support us, then we can take on any challenge, any of these big challenges we talked about. And we can start talking about peace in a totally different way than before that journey of self-empowerment and leadership development.
There is this perception that for the past 1 decade now, JCI has dropped drastically. We're talking about influence. The influence of JCI has dropped. That's what people are saying. And then, of course, according to you, what do you think of this perception by those who think that their influence has dropped?
Well, I would, of course, I would wish to understand really what is causing that perspective.
The influence, that what the influence you used to exert on the world.
Okay, yeah.
10 years ago has dropped drastically.
Okay.
Why is that, if it's true?
Well, I hope, first of all, that it's not so true, or not as dramatic as you're describing it, first of all, because we are still here building up young people every single day. We are taking actions in our community, so I think our influence is quite important. But it's true that in certain countries and in certain areas we might have...
because of war and miseries in some of those countries that you're being accused, the organization is being accused of having probably not doing enough in those areas where you have a lot of problems.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. I mean, we are never doing enough. We are never doing enough. And when we and while we still face all these challenges, well, you can say, okay, we are not influential enough. Might be true. We are not doing enough, obviously, because the problems are still there and we haven't solved it. So yes, I take on that responsibility, and we in JCI take on that responsibility. What can we do better? How can we improve? And how can we collaborate with different stakeholders to achieve better what we are aiming for? And our influence has been there and is there, and I believe in will be there, because it's about young people. And the future belongs to young people. Young people better be the ones who shape that future. And while we focus on that, well, I have full confidence in both the organization and also that we can improve all these situations that we're talking about.
Alors, peut-être avant de rebondir sur d'autres questions avec toi, Lasha, j'aimerais savoir quels sont les challenges dont vous faites face dans votre entreprise, dans l'idée d'outiller les jeunes à se donner à l'entrepreneuriat.
That is asking, what is it that you are doing at the level of your organization to get young people involved in entrepreneurship?
Yes. Well, we do several different actions on that topic. Well, first of all, we have a lot of trainings to build up the skill set to be a successful entrepreneur. A lot of trainings and programs where we are building that up. I want to mention one, for example, Creative Young Entrepreneur. This is a program, it's actually a competition between young entrepreneurs who are proposing solutions, business solutions, but who are very rooted with the responsibility that we have towards our society and environment, etc. So it's responsible solutions, responsible businesses. So we have a program where we train people in this aspect, entrepreneurship, where we connect them with mentors and experienced people who can share their wealth of knowledge. We have a competition where you are pitching your idea and you're getting feedback on that pitch, you're pitching it again, and getting feedback again and constantly improving. And then you are getting the opportunity to compete with well, in your local area, on the national level, and then even on the global level. And I mentioned these 4 area conferences that we host, and then this one World Congress we host every year. On these conferences we are having also trainings and programs for entrepreneurs, but also this competition. So people are actually on the global stage presenting the business case with global judges who are giving input and feedback, and not only judging the idea but also really giving suggestions on how to improve. Successful business people, and you can win an award and even get some monetary award if you win the first prize in these competitions. So we have done 4 of these in the 4 area conferences, but we are doing this also on national level. So this is one way we are promoting entrepreneurship, and we are supporting people on that journey. We also, in collaboration with different NGOs, BNI, Business Network International, is one global partner we have, where we are also helping our members to extend the network in the business field. Of course, it's about having the right connections. Sometimes it's about having access to resources. It's about finding investors, etc. And we are helping people to build that global network and expand themselves. So there are many different ways we do help young entrepreneurs on their journey.
Thank you.
Senator Viktor Omarsson, your last word. We are gradually coming to the end of the program.
Thank you.
How did you find the conversation?
Fantastic, and I really appreciate that you are talking about the real challenges and pointing out that JCI and any one of us have a responsibility in those challenges. And you are challenging me a bit here, and I like that. And you are asking, okay, how can we? And I would like to say to everybody who's out there, and might have an interest in solving some of these challenges. First of all, to step out of their own comfort zone, and to challenge themselves, to make a better life for themselves. First of all, but secondly, it's always about something more than yourself. So if you're interested in facing those challenges, not by pointing fingers at someone else, but really facing them and taking on the challenge and responsibility of solving them, whether that is on the business field, in the communities, in the political field, it doesn't matter. Leadership is needed everywhere in this, and it needs to be entrepreneurial, responsible leaders who go into these different fields and drive positive changes. Now, if you're interested in that, I hope to see you in JCI, and I hope you join us, whether you're a partner, whether you're a senior who wants to contribute, or a member who wants to join and be part of this amazing journey. Well, we are here, and we welcome anyone who wants to share this vision with us.
Senator Viktor Omarsson, 2023 JCI President, thank you so much for making a stop at My Media Prime Television to share with Cameroonians why you are in Cameroon. Wish you a nice day in Cameroon.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Televiewers, it's on this note that we end today's edition of the program, the special interview with the 2023 JCI or World President, who is coming all the way from Iceland in Europe. He was here to tell you what he is in Cameroon. He came to Cameroon to do. He touched down yesterday at 6 p.m. in Douala, and he will be in Cameroon to meet with stakeholders, JCI partners, as well as government officials to chart way forward of driving development and solving some of the problems that the country Cameroon is facing. Have a great day and stay blessed. Bye-bye.